Now at 5, breaking news. A wild pursuit on several SoCal freeways. The car being chased by police, reaching speeds exceeding 100 miles an hour.
Oh, and the ending right there to the stolen car pursuit, it was just as dramatic. Sky 2 was overhead capturing every moment.
And CBS2's Sandra Mitchell joins us from the newsroom to break it all down for us. Sandra.
Yeah, Pat and Jeff, this guy really was flying more than 100 miles per hour. It was extra tense because police apparently thought the driver had a loaded gun in the car. And that driver went all the way from Monterey Park, that's where the pursuit started, to the San Fernando Valley. All right, here's the video. Stolen white Lexus reportedly belongs to an airport police officer who told police there was a gun inside. Officers chased the car, the 610, the 210, the 134, the 170, and then onto the 5 freeway, and he was going really fast. He was weaving in and out of traffic, several very close calls. Then on the 5, near the 405 interchange, the driver got into the carpool lane, and after he passed the 118, a CHP officer right there comes up very fast behind him and clips him. Just a perfect pit maneuver. He spun around and he stopped by that concrete wall there on the side of the freeway. The driver did give up. You can see threw the keys out. He got out of the car and he was handcuffed, taken into custody. The car reportedly was stolen last night in Rosemead. Live in the newsroom, I'm Sandra Mitchell. Jeff, back to you.
All right, Sandra, thanks. Another dangerous pursuit ended with a wild crash earlier today. Officers chased a stolen stake bed truck from Long Beach to Alhambra and then back to the coast. The truck bed had a chair or a refrigerator and what looked like a freezer. Then, behind those trees there, police performed another pit maneuver. This is on Lamson Avenue. The truck flipped over and crashed. Everything came flying out of the back. The driver then ran to a shopping center. Didn't take long, though, for officers to catch him and put him under arrest.
Well, developing news in Alhambra, a deadly office shooting inside a newspaper office. The suspected shooter has been caught.
Right now, detectives are trying to figure out what the motive is.
And CBS 2's Randy Page is live on scene in Alhambra with late-breaking developments. Randy.
Well, Jeff, Pat, this shooting happened up on the second floor of this building. This is the building which houses the China Press, a Chinese language newspaper serving the Chinese community here. Police say they got the call about 9:30 this morning that someone had been shot. When they arrived, they found 4 people inside. One of them had been shot more than once. He died up here on the second floor. Also, a handgun was found nearby. 3 others were inside the building. That's all because it was so early. They were all questioned, and before long, police decided that they had figured out what happened, that one of the people here, an employee, is the person responsible, the person who did commit this murder. That is the suspect. He is the suspect in this case. Police are simply saying this is a workplace violence case, and they aren't talking a whole lot about motive. What they are saying, though, is that they're serving a search warrant at the home of the person who's the suspected gunman, and they also have not yet released the information or been able to get a hold of the victim's next of kin. So identities have not been released of them, but it is clear this is considered a workplace violence murder. Let's go back to you.
Now to developing news. Police have just released video of a sex assault suspect, and they wanted to find him before he strikes again. The LAPD says this man attacked a woman as she slept in her Echo Park apartment earlier this month. Officers say the man used the fire escape to get into her bedroom and assault her. He then took off through the front door. Police want to hear from anyone who has information.
All right, and now to the latest on the Woolsey fire.
Good news for more evacuees. Evacuation orders are lifted in some of the unincorporated areas of Agoura Hills. That includes Sherwood Drive. More people in Topanga are allowed to go back home today as well. And fire-weary residents of Malibu got the green light to return, including those living in the Civic Center area.
Yeah, but some areas are still too dangerous to go in. The Woolsey fire crumbled roads, buckled bridges, and obviously there were a lot of down power lines. The fire is now 69% contained. Well,
more than 98,000 acres have burned so far, destroyed more than 600 homes and buildings, and damaged another 183 others. And CBS 2's Dave Lopez is live in Malibu with the story of a victim who suffered a double dose of fire tragedy just 1 year apart. Dave?
Oh, you shake your head at this one. This poor woman has no luck whatsoever. But before we get to that, I want to give you a quick update. Canaan, this is one of the spots that is not open to Malibu residents. You can show all the proof you want. You're not going to get through. This is at Canaan. It is just far too dangerous to go in there. Now, the woman we're about to tell you about lives in this area, and she has a story that will, I think, make your head spin.
I couldn't help but think of my parents, or the fact that it was another devastation from fire.
And for Carmen Meisner, she couldn't help but flash back to a different fire at the height of this one.
How could this be happening again?
It was a little more than a year ago. Her mother and father in Santa Rosa on a trip got caught in the deadly Tubbs fire. Her mother and father survived for 8 hours in a pool at where they were staying. Carmen, the mom, couldn't hold on. 8 hours. She died, smoke inhalation, cradled in the arms of her husband.
I was thinking that, I wasn't going to have to experience any more suffering from fires, and all of a sudden it happens.
4 months ago, she moved this brand new mobile home into Seminole Springs Park in Agoura Hills. It burned to the ground.
There's no words really to explain what it is I'm feeling.
The only break, if you want to call it that Carmen Meisner got through all of this is that she wasn't here. She was out of town. She's a flight attendant. She wasn't here when these flames whipped by winds that were clocked at 40 to 80 miles an hour. And I asked her, aren't you glad you weren't here?
I wouldn't have been safe, but I know that I would have tried to at least, recover in what I could.
So she watched on the mobile app called Next Door. And who called her? Her dad.
He was so sweet. He said, whatever I can do to help you and rebuild, and we're going to do this together.
And throughout all this, she said, she just keeps thinking of Mom.
She's with me every day of my life. I mean, I've been grieving her loss all year long. If there's one thing that I do have is an extreme faith, and I am a survivor, and I focus on what I have, not what I don't have.
And Dad there to help.
And Dad to help.
And Mom up above.
Mom up above, and she's watching over me.
I asked her, does she intend to rebuild in the same area? She says, of course, this has been my long-time home. All my friends are here, and I'm coming back. And then she looked at me and said, it can't happen a third time, can it? From Malibu, I'm Dave Lopez, CBS2 News. Back to you.
All right, may her faith carry her. We are getting a look at the devastation at Paramount Ranch, where many Westerns have been shot over the past 90 years. It's on the National Register of Historic Places, and they've already announced plans to rebuild.
We hope to be able to tell the next story of this place in very short order. And we're hoping it's a story that will only take 24 months. We would like to get Paramount Ranch rebuilt in the next 24 months.
Now, the Western town was built for TV shows like the Cisco Kid in the 1950s. The property changed hands several times until it was acquired by the Park Service in 1980.
Well, investigators now believe someone started the nearby Hill fire that burned more than 4,500 acres in Ventura County. A $10,000 reward is being offered to find the person who did it. The fire started Thursday, November 8th in the area of Hill Canyon Trail. And by the way, it's 100% contained.
Well, that is good news. And we could use some rain, but I understand we may not get any until next week.
Yeah, we'll get closer. I just can't believe that somebody would start something like this. Unbelievable. 66 degrees right now. West winds at 3. Pat's right. We are going to pick a little bit of rain up. It looks like Wednesday and the Thursday right now. We're still going about this a little bit. I'll show it to you coming up in just a few minutes, but it is a really nice November afternoon out there. 72 San Bernardino. All the winds have been relaxed. We have a slight offshore push, nothing big, getting a little bit of a sea breeze right now. So we're going to see the marine layer really start to build itself back up. Look how much cooler we are than 24 hours ago. That's a good sign. We're going to see the marine layer start to increase to just about 1,500 feet. But look at the humidity. That's what I'm interested in. 84% Oxnard. Still low out towards San Bernardino and Ontario. Please be vigilant out there as well. We'll have your whole forecast coming up in just a little bit. Back to you guys.
Okay, thanks, Garth. Well, the number of missing people in the deadly Northern California Camp Fire has skyrocketed to a staggering 631. The death toll is now at 66. It is expected to rise. Hundreds of searchers and more than 20 dogs are digging through what's left of the town of Paradise. They're looking for human remains. Such a grim task. Loved ones of the missing are submitting DNA examples to help identify remains. The fire is now 45% contained. President Trump is scheduled to visit the burned area tomorrow. The air quality is awful.
A vigil is planned for 6:30 tonight for a Gardena police officer who was struck and killed this week. Officer Toshio Hirai died Thursday, a day after a crash in Harbor City. He was on his way to work Wednesday when he was hit. Investigators don't believe alcohol or drugs were a factor. The 34-year-old served with the department for 12 years, including being on the SWAT team. He leaves behind a wife and that 2-year-old little boy there. Tonight's vigil is at the Gardena Police Station if you'd like to go. We'll have a live report coming up at 6 o'clock.
Well, a journalist kicked out of the White House after a heated exchange with the president is back on the job tonight.
This is all as Mr. Trump answers special counsel Robert Mueller's questions about possible collusion between his campaign and Russia. And for all of that, we go to CBS2 political reporter Dave Bryan. Hi, Dave.
Hi. So the day before President Trump comes to California, he had plenty on his plate today in Washington, including Jim Acosta. Never a dull moment. About 3 hours ago, CNN reported House correspondent Jim Acosta, White House correspondent that is, reported live from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue for the first time since his press pass was revoked. But today, Mr. Trump said if he crosses the line again, he'll kick him out again.
Let's go to our chief White House correspondent, Jim Acosta, who's reporting from the White House North Lawn right now.
Back on the beat, CNN White House correspondent Jim Acosta returned to duty hours after a judge issued an injunction allowing him to get his press pass back.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried? That's enough. That's enough. Mr. President.
This is what got Acosta kicked out last week. He tried to ask the president another question during a news conference, but was shot down. Several news organizations, including CBS News, filed friend of the court briefs backing CNN and Acosta. In his ruling, Judge Timothy Kelly, who was put on the bench last year by the president, slapped the administration's wrist for lack of due process in revoking Acosta's access, writing, "The move was so shrouded in mystery that the government could not tell me who made the decision."
And I'm really grateful to all of my colleagues in the press who stood by us in this hour.
If they don't listen to the rules and regulations, we'll end up back in court and we'll win.
Now back to probably one of the president's least favorite topics, the Russia investigation. After telling reporters nothing triggered yesterday's Twitter tirade in which he called the probe a total mess and a disgrace to our nation, Mr. Trump revealed he had personally answered written questions from special counsel Robert Mueller's team.
I'm working on that. I write the answers. My lawyers don't write answers. I write answers. I was asked a series of questions. I've answered them very easily. Very easily. I'm sure they're tricked up because, they like to catch people. Gee, was the weather sunny or was it rainy? He said it may have been a good day. It was rainy. Therefore, he told a lie. He perjured himself. You have to always be careful when you answer questions with people that probably have bad intentions.
Now, the president may have answered Mueller's questions, but he hasn't submitted them to Mueller's team, at least not yet. Rudy Giuliani, Mr. Trump's lawyer, told the Washington Post the legal team is still deciding whether some of Mueller's questions would cause legal problems for the president. Pat, back to you.
All right, thanks for that, Dave Bryan. Now to breaking news in Harbor Gateway, where there is some police activity right now.
CBS 2's Stu Mundell joins us live over the scene. Sky 2, Stu.
Jeff, Pat, you can see the officers down there from the Harbor Division of LAPD. They responded out to Torrance and 112th Street out here in the Harbor Gateway area for a shots fired call. When they arrived on scene, they did not find a victim, but they did start a search in the area. They closed down a portion of Torrance Boulevard right at Western. You can see the closure still going on. LAPD out here investigating, and they're saying that they have not found a victim. Live in Sky 2 over the Harbor Gateway area, I'm Stu Mundell. Back to you two in the studio.
All right, thank you, Stu. Still ahead, Facebook wants to know who you live with. We'll explain that controversial new technology.
Plus this.
It is not officially winter yet, but it is ski season up in Big Bear. We'll let you know about the conditions on the mountain.
And a little bit of a blow to the UCLA Bruins in their crosstown rivalry with USC. The Bruin embarrassment leading up to the big game.
Didn't they get payback? Not yet.
Not yet.
Well, a big turkey recall. What you need to know before you buy your Thanksgiving groceries.